Mean by accelerated learning is to restore, teaching, learning, content. We were all just thrust into this uncertain space, right? So when you think about acceleration, I want not only our families, I want our district, I want our schools, I want our leaders, I want our teachers to think about just recouping, restoring, and then that restoration of what we either lost or didn't finish, and really, really getting a new and re-energized start. That's what we're really looking forward to with this acceleration.
It is a resource, a bank of accessible text, all genres, all age groups. And it's really exciting because it kind of is that gateway into literature and reading when we can't physically get the books to our students. So it's really exciting.
I'm going to have my own children log into Zern this summer still, because I really feel like that intervention piece, the personalized pathway for them, it's engaged directly at their level, and it will help support them in getting to that grade level content so they'll be more ready to engage in next year's work.
High dosage tutoring, and what makes it different from just regular tutoring is regular tutoring might check in and check up on what you might have gaps in and what you might need academically. But high dosage tutoring is intentionally and deliberately connected to what you're doing in your classrooms, the expectations of what's going in and what comes out, right? So each session builds upon the next, and it's also interconnected and interdependent on what you've been doing with your classroom teacher and with your content. So you really, with high dosage tutoring, you have a relationship with the student, the teacher, and the content.
Students appreciate that it's tailored to their needs, and it's related directly to what they're doing in class. So they can see, it looks the same. It looks so similar. Those strategies that they were focusing on using in class, if they're doing array models in second grade, that's what they're going to do in the video. And the video is going to give them manipulatives online, digital manipulatives, to help them be able to do that same strategy to support their thinking when they're doing those math chat videos.
Families are planning vacations. Again, if you're starting to feel comfortable to go out and travel a little bit more, research, where are you going? Have your kids read about it, find out more information about those locations. If you want to build something this summer, get hands-on, read about how to build or create recipes. I know my daughter likes to cook. So, hey, let's go check out some recipes online or through Sora. And then maybe we can create our own and then, cook that. So it's exciting. Lots of different resources to tap into.
How Zern operates is if you're on grade level, so if you go through and you do this digital lesson and you understand the content and you just go through and you answer things correctly, you could be done that digital lesson in under 10 minutes. It doesn't assign you extra just to assign you extra. So it will look at only the places where you need additional support. So some students do take 20 to 30 minutes to finish the lesson, but that's because they needed additional supports in there. And I think that for me is the piece that's so beneficial with the program.
There is no fee. There is no cost.
It's been such a tough year for all of us. And I just think through the continued support of, to the teachers, to the administrators, to the state, to the education world in general, we are just indebted. It's been a tough ride for you. And hopefully this access to Sora and the resources the state's putting together will make things a little bit easier for you and make it fun for the kids this summer as well. It's a time for the kids to have fun, and there's choice. I think that's something so wonderful about Sora. There's tons of choice and options. And we all know as educators, that's like the number one driver of success and joy in education is when kids have choice in what they learn and read about. It's just a great impact.
Good evening. Welcome to this Facebook Live featuring Summer Accelerated Learning Opportunities. I am Susan Bunting, Delaware's Secretary of Education. As Secretary, I am blessed to have a cabinet comprised of former educators and school administrators who lead teams in the department with the goal of supporting schools across the state to prepare students for college, career, and life. With us this evening is Dr. Christina Loyas, Deputy Secretary, Dr. Monica Gant, Associate Secretary, Academic Support, Mike Rodriguez, Associate Secretary, Student Support, and Jim Simmons, the Director of our Office of Equity and Innovation. There's no doubt that COVID-19 and the pandemic has disrupted students' experiences this school year. Even so, teachers, school leaders, and school support staff continue to provide students with opportunities to learn while also caring for students' physical, social, and emotional needs.
Every district and charter school in the state is working on its own summer accelerated learning plan. The resources we are discussing tonight are supplemental to those local plans. Some districts and charters plans will include everything we discussed this evening. Others will include just parts because they already have local programs in place. You will be hearing soon from your schools about what your local offerings will be, including a range of in-person and online supports. We're excited tonight to share a little more about some of what you may see this summer. Next slide.
The Delaware Department of Education is dedicated to providing summer resources to support learning acceleration for students in literacy and math. The aim of accelerated learning is to give increased opportunities to access grade level content and help students make up for unfinished learning so they are prepared for their new grade in the fall. Effective implementation of the Delaware Strategy to Accelerate Learning requires school districts and school systems to target resources to support 4 core actions. Adopt and use high-quality instructional materials to bring coherence and consistency to instructional vision and academic planning. Provide school leaders and teachers with professional learning needed to provide core instruction to all students, including understanding how to diagnose and address student learning needs. Leverage data that supports teachers in diagnosing unfinished learning and providing the necessary scaffolds to ensure all students have access to grade level instruction. And create support structures to accelerate student learning within the context of high-quality instructional materials through summer learning acceleration, extended school day and year, high-dosage tutoring, and refining or revising existing policies, procedures, and programs. Next slide, please. The state is paying for students to have access to high-quality instructional materials via Zern Math for every rising 1st through 8th grader. It is a 24/7 digital student mathematics platform with daily digital lessons with fluency, concept development, and independent practice with built-in math help that provides unlimited access for all students, teachers, and schools. The program is designed to engage students while catching students up on math learning and building a strong foundation for next year. This on-demand curriculum will allow students to log on when it works best for them for a self-paced program that adjusts based on their performance. Students are encouraged to spend 30 minutes a day on Zern Math, and they can do that in person or at home. It includes embedded accessibility features to support English language learners and students with disabilities. And there is a daily diagnostic that assesses each student's understanding and automatically launches support. Next, please.
Good evening. Every rising 1st through 11th grader will have access to roughly 3 million ebooks via the Sora app and the Delaware Public Library collection. Students are encouraged to spend 15 to 20 minutes a day reading any book of their choosing. What students read isn't as important as if that fact that they are reading. For younger children, it's a great resource for you to use as you read together and have fun exploring all the different types of books and content that's available. Next slide, please.
Some students will also be selected by their schools to participate in high-dosage tutoring, meaning frequent and consistent data-driven tutoring delivered by trained tutors in a one-to-one setting or very small group, focusing on students who need the most support as identified by their schools. This could be in their school or a community-based organization. Rigorous research provides strong evidence that high-dosage tutoring can produce large learning gains for a wide range of students, including those who have fallen behind academically. A review of almost 200 studies found that high dosage tutoring, defined as more than 3 days per week or at a rate of at least 50 hours over 36 weeks, is one of the few school-based interventions with demonstrated large positive effects on both mathematics and reading achievement. Next slide, please.
Sorry. You can find information about accelerated learning and so much more on our Digital Delaware site. Digital Delaware serves as Delaware's online hub for best-in-class instructional, professional development, and family resources for this academic year and beyond. This site is accessible, searchable, and free. If you go to education.delaware.gov/digital-de/ and click on Summer Acceleration for more information about what we discussed tonight. But I also encourage you to spend some time exploring the other rich content available. Next slide.
The Tech Otis Parent Portal, accessible from Digital DE, provides tutorials to help families learn how to use and understand the digital tools most often used by students and educators. This is a great resource for families to return to as questions arise. To access the Tech Otis Parent Portal, go to the Family Resources tab on Digital DE and click the Tech Otis Parent Portal. If you are creating an account for the first time, the directions are in the second box. After June 1st, your school can provide a group code for you to use. Once you have that group code, click the first box to sign up for free with your code. There is nothing for you to purchase. Next slide.
Thank you, Monica. Another new resource available to schools right now is a language line. The department has provided all public schools in the state with free access to this language line. The language line is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, to help educators and school staff communicate with families in 195 languages. Schools recently received training and passwords so they can start using this right away to better communicate with families who speak a language other than English. Next slide.
Access to the online programs will begin on or about June the 1st. Schools will register students for these programs and will share login information with families. Schools also will be identifying students for the high dosage tutoring that you heard about, and they will connect with you to schedule this if your child is selected to participate. I want to thank the team for all the detailed information that they've shared with you this evening. And thank you too to our attentive listeners who may have questions about summer acceleration. Emily, what's our first question?
Thank you, Dr. Bunting, and thanks to all of you panelists for sharing a little bit more about accelerated learning. I just encourage all of the viewers to type in any questions they have in the Facebook chat, and we will be sure to answer them. Our first question is, and you've sort of covered this a little bit, but I think the viewers would like to know a little bit more. Is accelerated summer learning all online? How can you sign up for those in-person segments?
We will be offering in-person instructional opportunities in our schools as well, and the schools will connect with parents about the in-person learning opportunities.
Fabulous. Do students and families have to log in at certain times to access this information?
So there's 24/7 access for all of the services and resources that we're providing. So there's not a specific time. They can log in when it's convenient for them.
Thank you, Monica. We have a question here from Livestream. Are all of the districts participating? Are charter schools participating as well?
19 of the 19 districts are participating, and 21 of the 23 charter schools are a part of this for the summer.
Great. Can we request to have our kids engaged in high dosage tutoring, or do they need to be identified by the school?
So each school is handling that, each district's handling that a little differently. And so the best thing to do would be to contact the district or school directly to see how you would be able to engage in high dosage tutoring.
Fabulous. And I know this was sort of mentioned in the introductory video we saw from the educators themselves, but families are traveling and on the road this summer. How much time do you expect families and students to take for these programs every single day?
So the Zern math is set up for 30-minute sessions, but as the educator said in the video, students may take less or more time depending on their engagement and how they're progressing through the program. We're also recommending that students read at least 15 to 20 minutes each day. And that can be a book that they enjoy reading. That can be something that is assigned to them. And so the more they read, the better.
Great. And if you could touch on, we have a couple questions about different supports that are available for folks who are tuning in. So not only language support, but accessibility supports. And then the last part of the question, will my teachers be able to help my child if it's needed?
Monica, as the expert, will let you handle that one.
So I'll jump right in. So teachers that are serving as summer school staff, they will be available to assist students in the summer programs. And Emily, I'm going to ask you to repeat the question about the language lines.
Yeah, there was just a couple questions about the supports that are available. So whether it's for accessibility on the platform itself or with language lines. And then I guess the second part of that question would be, how can we get the support? Will the teachers be there to support us as well through this?
Sure. And so the resources that we have selected are accessible. And so Sora, for example, the family is able and the student is even able to make adjustments to the font. So if they'd like dyslexic font, that is available for them, and they can put that in as an option and a setting to make it a little easier. So they can customize it based on whatever they need. And so all of the resources that we have selected are accessible. Both Zern and Sora are alike. As far as, again, the adults that are available, we have adults that are available not just through the teachers, but also through the tutors. And so students will have an opportunity to interact with adults in a variety of different ways and in a variety of different settings based on the plans for that family, however that family sets up their plans for the summer.
Great. We have another question from Livestream. Is there a way to determine which charters are participating in these programs? Sure, you can certainly reach out directly to your charter to find out what part of the resources, because again, as Christine said a little earlier, all districts and charters aren't participating in all of the programs. And so if you're really interested to find out which program or resource they're participating in, you can reach directly out to the school or district themselves, and they'll be able to share that with you. We're also available at the department, and so you're more than welcome to email us, and we'd be happy to talk with you and connect you to the right people.
And if it's okay for me just to add with that too, thank you, Monica. Another piece to that is when you talk with the schools, if they aren't participating in one of these specific areas, they can also share with you what they are doing so that they can share what resources are available to you. Thank you, Christine. Our next question, it kind of builds off on the supports you were just speaking on, but are there English learner supports built into the program?
Yes, there are English learner supports. So the accessibility is not only for special education students, but it's also for English learner students. And those supports are available in the resources that we are providing.
A question from Facebook here. Are the VOTEX a part of the program?
So the VOTEX are part of the program. Our focus, just based on the research, was really heavily on early learners. And so many of the resources are geared towards elementary and middle school students. However, the high school students are engaging in the high dosage tutoring and the SORA online. So they also have access to the online text as well. And so there are resources available for all grade levels.
So I guess this is taking the support question a little bit differently. How can parents help their students this summer? How can guardians help their students?
So I'm really glad you asked that. On Digital Delaware, there is a Digital DE. There are family resources, but there also are parent tips and strategies under Zern, under SORA, that you can take a look at, as well as an entire family resources tab. And so there are a plethora of things that you can do to support your child at home. And so we would encourage you to check out Digital DE, and please feel free to shoot us questions if you have questions for additional information.
I would like to add, Emily, that having your child read is always a good tactic. And it's so easy to do wherever you are, so many opportunities to read anything. You heard earlier, they mentioned recipes, and there are novels, and there's instructional material, but child participation in that reading process is truly beneficial and keeps up the skills for all of our kids through the summer.
Thank you, Dr. Bunting. I know that was one thing I looked forward to over the summer, was a good book. What are you all doing to help children who won't be attending summer school?
So I can jump in there, and I'm sure some of my colleagues on the screen can follow up as well. So the students that aren't attending summer school, these resources are available to all of our students, no matter where they are. So if they aren't in summer school, they can still access each of these programs. They will be given that information by their schools before they leave. We're also very excited because not only are we providing these supports to our schools, but we're also training many of our community organizations to provide these services to students that are attending those locations as well. So this is really a full state, full community effort, and we hope that that spreads far and wide.
Thank you for that. And you just mentioned this is a full state effort. So I'm curious, do we have any supports for the families or the children who don't easily have access to internet?
There are always ways to reach those students. When we went into a remote learning situation, we did have paper packets that were prepared for the students, but I would have parents of those students connect with the schools to see what can be worked out. And remember, Emily, that we invested a lot of our CARES Act money in improving the accessibility to the internet up and down the state, particularly on the western side of Sussex and Kent counties. So hopefully our students have had access, and we've even worked on affordability packages for many of our students. So that should be much less of an issue than it was a year ago.
Thank you for that, Dr. Bunting. It looks like we have about 2 more questions here. You mentioned how parents and guardians can help the students, but how can community organizations help the students this summer?
So as Christine shared, we are partnering with our community organizations, community-based organizations, to provide training and support for them, as well as a good understanding of the resources. So as students come to their sites, they're able to provide them with additional support and facilitate learning, whether they're in a school program or in that community organization. And so there's those opportunities available.
And if a community organization would like to get involved, Monica, would they be reaching out to your team?
Absolutely. We are always looking for partners that are interested in doing this work. And so they would just need to reach out to us, and we would direct them to where they need to go to get signed up.
Great. And again, just want to encourage folks to enter any questions they have in the Facebook or Livestream chat, and we can get to them. We have a question from Amber on Facebook. Is this program in replacement of in-person summer school?
No, as I mentioned earlier, there will be in-person offerings at many of our schools. So this is a supplement to what would be offered in an individual school or by an individual district or charter. This is available, we mentioned earlier, statewide for the interest and the participation. It is free.
Thank you. Are there programs within SORA or ZERN that are available in different languages?
Yes, there are. And so the accessibility feature will support that work. We are working with our partners to make sure that those options are available in different languages.
Great. A question about, are you doing anything specific around this programming for the city of Wilmington?
We are, Emily, we are strategically trying to make sure that we use non-traditional methods of getting communication out to families and students so that they're aware of these resources as well.
Great. And it looks like this might be the last question from the group, but how will results of these summer programs be measured, whether it's by the districts or by the department itself?
Several of us can contribute to that answer. These programs do have formative assessments woven into them so that the progress of students, for example, with ZERN Math, can be watched through the course of their interaction with the program. There are ways to find out how many books have been read through our number count with SORA, and also the number of minutes that have been invested in reading over the summer. So there are just a few of the ways. And of course, if it's in-person learning, you have that personal contact with a teacher. But for our programs that are offered statewide, there are the checks that are built into the programs. And a tutor, of course, is going to have the informal as well as possibly formal checks on the progress that's being made. Monica, do you have anything to add to that?
I think the only thing that I would add, Dr. Bunting, is that we should be aware that the goal of summer acceleration is for students to be able to access grade level content in the new year. And so we're positioning students, we're setting students up to be successful as they enter the new year. And so this is not just about kind of replacing last year. This really is about positioning children to be ready to enter that new grade level, feeling ready to learn, previewing some of the upcoming materials. And so we're really excited about the opportunities that acceleration provides for us.
Great. Well, I think with that seems to be the last of our Facebook and live stream questions. I just want to thank the panelists again, and Dr. Bunting, if you could just review what the next steps are for families that may be interested in the program, and who to contact and what to expect over the next few weeks.
The best source of contact is going to be the school, both for identification for various programs or the high dosage tutoring. A lot of communication will be coming from schools to parents as we close out the final weeks of this school year. So watch for what might be coming through the mail, through telephone calls, through flyers that the child brings home. Jim mentioned some non-traditional methods of finding out about these programs. So there's an intense effort being made to reach out to our students and engage them in the opportunities that are being provided. So watch and wait, and then take advantage of the opportunities when they're offered to the students. Your teachers in your schools will best know which way to guide the students for the maximum benefit over the summer and for the best preparation, as Monica mentioned, to be prepared for entering the next grade of school, the next level, with the standards that are guiding learning at that next grade level. That's what our hope is to provide the foundation for success in the upcoming school year. And so, Emily, if we have no more questions, I'd like to thank our panel members. And on their behalf, I'd like to reiterate our gratitude for everyone's joining us this evening on Facebook Live. I wish you a safe and happy conclusion to the school year. And we hope that you will be involved in the many offerings that will engage your student in additional learning over the summer. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.